best, and so are you. Good morning. Welcome to The Point, our humanist hour, where seekers of all kind, believers and non-believers, are welcome. We get to ask any and every question we want here in this room, which is a radical thing in Tulsa, Oklahoma today in 2023. So welcome. Take a minute to welcome each other. Say hello to your neighbor. Find somebody new. Great, wonderful. I hope you'll stay after the service, a provocative message, and have some more conversation and coffee, and visit our book table. I'll have some announcements for you at the end, but we're going to start our time together by saying the words of our covenant, a promise we make to each other. They're printed in your programs, so if you don't know it by heart, it's okay, but it will move your heart. We don't need to believe alike to love alike, but we covenant together in this community to love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. No matter what you believe or don't believe, you are welcome here. Welcome to All Souls Beyond Belief. Reverend Marlon will light our chalice, or have some words for our chalice lighting this morning.
Yes, Barbara Sensentoffer, would you please come and light our chalice? It's great to have you back. I know you've been away a little while with some health stuff, and it's great to see you looking so healthy. As we light our chalice this morning, the symbol of the flame of freedom and the cup of community, we strive to be a community with freedom to believe and freedom of conscience. As we light this chalice, I want you to imagine that we live in a time and in a world where we all turn to our neighbors in mutual aid, trading eggs for milk, checking in on the elderly, checking in on those who live alone. Imagine that each of us feels called to wonder in this moment, what does the world need from me? What are my gifts? And imagine if instead of saying, but that's not the world we live in, we all said, that's not the world we live in yet. And imagine that what we do here each week and when we gather helps bring such a reality closer to life. Thank you. Just imagine. Thank you. To the children who are here, I don't know if you can see this from where you are, but do you know what these are? Anybody? What is that? What is it? A coupon. That's right. These are coupons. This one's from a local food store. I guess I don't want to advertise. It's from Sprouts, but it says $5 off. I can get $5 off. And this one, I missed something, but I love the participatory thing, though, so thank you. And this is from this place will help you change your muffler and a couple other things, and this says $50 off if I buy 4 new tires. And this one says $100 off for getting my brakes tuned up. So, there's these coupons. I don't know if you've ever used coupons, but coupons can save money, but it only works if you use the coupon for what it's intended to be used for, right? If you just use it to line the bottom of your bird cage, or or you just stick it in a recycling bin, then yeah, if you bring this one to the wrong place, they're going to go, nah, you can't get $100 off your food. So the reason that I show you this is because our theme this month here at All Souls is redemption. And that's a big word, and that means a lot of different things to different people. But one of the meanings is you redeem a coupon by using it for its purpose. And what I want to say is that here, when we talk about redemption, we're saying when we use our life for its intended purpose, when we use our gifts, like these musical gifts, like the different things, it might be for you today, it might be smiling at somebody or saying thank you or helping somebody open the door or helping your parents bring something in from the car. But it's doing something knowing that you matter and what you do matters, and you can do your thing in a way that helps others. And when you do, you redeem the moment, you redeem your own life for its full purpose, just like a coupon. So I put a coupon in the back of the order of service, so you all have one. So you can take that home, cut that out, remind yourself, look at that, put it up on your refrigerator or whatever, your mirror in your bathroom. It says, this is a coupon that's good for a wonderful life. Use it or lose it. And it says, expiration date unknown. So we never know how much time we have, but may we use our lives, our gifts, our talents, whatever we have, in some way to help this world be a better place. And that's what we mean here by redemption. So may you go forth into this day and use your life in a way that redeems this day and all that's in it. So with that, I invite our children you can go to your classrooms. I think we got some fun activities for you. I see Miss Shannon's in the back, and we'll see you a little bit later.
Okay, I'm holding my coupon in my hand, and I invite you to just take in what you just heard. We never know how long our time on this earth will be, and we each have gifts to share in the time we have here. So with that, I invite you to settle into your seats. Maybe close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Just allow yourself to relax, breathe, arrive. Pay attention to your senses, what you can hear, what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can see if your eyes are open. This is a precious moment right here, right now. It's an amazing moment, really, to imagine that we're all here together, all coming from different places, all connected through this place. On Sunday mornings, we like to honor and lift up transitions that are happening in our lives. So this morning, we celebrate the 41st birthday of Dorothy Chakota's daughter. And we celebrate the graduating from UT Austin with their PhD. That's the grandchild of Mother White. Grandchild's name is Jaden Jamal. And we're holding Giacomo Tessaro as somebody who joins us from Italy every week, holding their friend Gigliola, who is recovering from a lung embolus. Forgive my Italian. We'll just take a few more minutes in the silence to hold in our hearts those we care for, those we're celebrating with, those we're concerned about. May this big love hold and touch us all.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. It was grace that taught my heart, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. Ooh.
Oh, thank you so much, Angela Ragsdale, and Rick Fortner, and David Smith. Amazing. I love the music. And I was thinking about, this is kind of the lost and found department today. I want to talk about what we lose, how we find it. I also want to, I've been thinking the word grace. My predecessor, Dr. John Wolfe, some of you knew him. He used to say that grace, the way he defined it, grace is the goodness of life that is available to all of us to the degree that we can open ourselves to experience it. The goodness of life available to all. I mean, look at this day outside, the sunshine, the beauty. Can we open ourselves to really take it in? And that's what he said was life is full of that. And yet sometimes things get in our way and don't allow us to be able to take in the joy, the beauty, the love that is right in front of us. There's some phrases that we all know, and I'd like to say the first line and see if you can help finish it for me. How about, it's always darkest before? All right, you know that one. No pain, no? Pain. Okay. Every dark cloud has a... See, you know these. When given lemons make... That's it. So each of these sayings tells us that suffering and struggle can lead to something better. And the concept, it's so common, it's so hopeful, that many of us want to get to the lemonade without ever having to taste the lemons. I remember seeing an ad in an in-flight magazine about a process called liposculpting. Have you heard of this? Anybody done liposculpting? No, you don't have to raise your hand, but so apparently they can extract fat from your belly and your buttocks and put it into your chest, your biceps, and your calves. What a deal. We'll be giving out coupons for that afterward. So today, it seems like you can get thin without dieting, and you can get muscles and get into shape without exercise. People want to gain, but they don't really want the pain. Or here's another famous phrase for you. We want to have our cake and... Right. Or we might say we want to have our cake and turn it into muscle. But despite all the technological advances that we have in this world, all the things that we've discovered and figured out how to do, no one has yet invented lipo-spirituality. Right? There's no quick fix to enlightenment, to a good life, to a wonderful life, as the coupon on the back of the program says. No shortcuts, if you will, to redemption. Now, generally, when we talk about redemption, there's lots of religious overtones to that word. There's the idea within Christianity that redemption is about the fact that we lost some purity and some goodness because of Eve in the Garden of Eden, and we need to be somehow saved from that original sin and be redeemed from that original sin. And then in Buddhism and Hinduism, often you have these ideas of being redeemed from the cycle of life and death and suffering into the world of oneness, which is where we supposedly were before we were born and where we're destined to go. So there's lots of ideas about redemption, but as I talked to the children about this morning, I like to think of it as a coupon that we redeem by using our life for its intended purpose. If we don't use it, we lose it. But we can cash in our life, our gifts, our talents, our just the energy that animates our life. Some way our presence sometimes is all we need to bring our presence into someone else's life. And then we redeem that life for its full value. And that's available to all of us. And it's a way that we can have a wonderful life and feel like when we get to the end of our lives that we've lived our lives in such a way that we've used it well. And I think a lot about Harry Belafonte, who died this week. And Rick started playing some Harry Belafonte at the beginning. He died, he was 96 years old. He was an incredible person who used his fame, used his fortune and notoriety to advocate for civil rights and human rights. He was a unique figure in the history of the black freedom struggle here in the United States. He was a powerful voice for justice because he leveraged his celebrity, something he had, and he used it for something more than himself. Do you know that in 1957, Harry Belafonte sold more records than Elvis Presley or Frank Sinatra? And he did so without touring in the South, because he refused to tour in the South from 1954 to 1961 because of the treatment that black entertainers had to go through to play and make music in the South. So it's pretty incredible. Not only did he outsell those guys, they were touring the whole country. He was just touring half the country, and he still captured the community and the hearts of this nation. Belafonte was one of Martin Luther King Jr.'s confidants, who Martin Luther King would talk to and ask questions about what to do, where to go next, to strategize. Belafonte provided the King family with money because Dr. King only received $8,000 a year from his church, from his ministry. And that wasn't enough to go flying around the country. And Belafonte said, we need you. Our nation needs you to be the voice of this movement. So I'm going to provide money for your kids, for your family, to pay the mortgage and other things so that you can be out there in the world doing what we need you to be doing, using your gifts. I'm going to use my gifts to help you use your gifts so that we can all hopefully flourish in a nation where everybody has the potential and possibility to use their gifts for good. In 1963, Harry Belafonte bailed Martin Luther King out of the Birmingham jail. And he raised $50,000 more to bail everybody else who had been in the struggle that day out of the jail. He contributed in 1961 to the Freedom Riders, who got on, young people, black and white, who got on buses and traveled across the South where it was illegal, often to be together, and male, female, black, white, all on these buses, these college students and others who, they got firebombed, they got attacked, but they were destined to try to make a difference, and Harry Belafonte gave them money to do that. He supported voter registration drives. He helped organize in 1963 the March on Washington. And during the Mississippi Summer in 1964, Belafonte bankrolled the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, which was led by John Lewis and others who went on to do great things. But that's the kind of person he was. In other words, Harry Belafonte cashed in his life, his gifts and talents for their full value for something larger than himself. By using it, we could say he redeemed his life for its full value. Well, what is it that causes a person to be generous? What is it that causes us to sacrifice for others, to rise above self-centeredness, to show up and be there for someone else when they need it, even when it may be inconvenient? So here at All Souls, we say that every person has value and worth, has something to contribute. And that's no one can take that away. And it's the role of our having a spiritual life or having a community where we come together like this to help us to discover and to learn and to develop our ability to share our gifts. And we need this because life gets in the way a lot of times of us doing the right thing. We all fall short of our own expectations of ourselves. Sometimes even just the most basic expectations of being a good friend. We don't show up. We have great ideals and intentions, and then we don't follow through. We might get tempted or addicted or procrastinate, or we're dealing with the effects of trauma. Or we just make a mistake that hurts another person unintentionally. There are a lot of reasons why we fall short in our own lives. But when we do, we need a recipe, if you will, to help us figure out, how do I redeem this situation? How do I get back into the community in a good way, or in relationship in a good way, or make what I did wrong better? And there's also a special sauce I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to get to that in a little later. But first, I want to share a story that I normally don't share stories that come from the Christian or the Jewish scriptures in this, in the point, because people have so many associations with them that they can't even hear them without, making all kinds of other associations. So I'm going to ask you to bear with me this morning, because I found the perfect story to make this point that comes from the Christian scriptures. It's a parable. It's a teaching story. And I realized that it's really a humanist story. If you know the Unitarian Church was founded back 450 years ago with the idea that Jesus was a person. He was a teacher. He was someone who was an example. He lived a good life. We could try to follow his life. But the very idea was that he wasn't God incarnate. So I figure if you have that understanding, then you can hear a story that includes Jesus without automatically assuming, oh, this is about God. No, this is about a man named Jesus. All right? So if you're here for the first time, I don't usually do this, but so it's a story of Zacchaeus. You may have heard of that story. We're told that Zach was short in stature. The word stature translated from the Greek word helikia, which can also be translated as character. So Zach was short in character. He was a Jew, but he was also the chief tax collector for the Romans. And he was known for entering people's homes and taxing them on their property and sending them money to support the Roman emperor and empire and the Roman army that was occupying and oppressing his people. And he would inflate the numbers of what he needed to get from them, and he would keep the extra for himself. And it says in the story that he was a very rich man. Now, to understand what being a tax collector back then would be like today, I want to ask you to imagine that the Russians are successful in taking over Ukraine, right? Brutally bombing, killing people into submission, taking over their land and taking control of their government. And a Ukrainian person becomes the tax collector for the Russian government. And he goes around home to home and says, I need you to give this money. And he not only gets what he needs to send to Putin to prop up Russia and the Russian army that is occupying his country, but also puts on a little extra for himself. All right, that person would not be very well liked by their neighbors. That's Zach. Now, word had spread that this itinerant Jew named Jesus was coming to town, and it was said that he could teach, he could heal, he could even tell a great story. And so, in other words, in the ancient Near East, he was like a rock star. And the people came out like it was a festival, crowding the street, like it was a parade. Everybody's out there with their lawn chairs and whatever, and they're like ready to see this person come in and hear this person talk. There wasn't a lot to do back then for people, so this is a big deal. And Zach wanted to see him, but he was short. So he climbed up this sycamore tree, it says, so that he could look from above and see this person coming. So Jesus arrives with his entourage, and Jesus sees Zacchaeus up in this tree, and he's like, Zacchaeus, come down from that tree. In fact, I'm coming over to your house for dinner tonight. And you can imagine what the people thought when they heard that. They're like, what, in all the people in the whole town? He's going to have dinner with him? And some of the people probably just assumed, it's just another money-grabbing preacher, cozying up to the big donor, trying to get some money, not caring about his ethics or where that money comes from. So Zach, who enters homes over and over again with greed and selfishness and power, which he uses to intimidate people and cheat them for his own good, experiences this itinerant Jew who people revere entering his home with love and acceptance. Now, Zacchaeus hadn't felt that in a long time. People didn't like Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus probably didn't like himself very much. And all of a sudden, this person comes and sees something more in him and gives him a sense of what it feels like to be loved and accepted. He says, I like that. I want more of that. And it breaks his heart, and he's transformed, and he decides to change his ways. He was lost, and then he was found. He found himself. He found something within him. The name Zacchaeus means in Hebrew, pure or innocent. It comes from the Hebrew Zakai. So like you and me and all of us, he was born pure and innocent. We come into this world so pure. But through the course of growing up, he made decisions And things happened to him, and he debased his own life, and his own name, and the sacredness of his being and his potential. And you have your stories, and I have my stories of ways in which we've left a piece of our integrity behind because we didn't live up to our own expectations. And we hurt somebody. Maybe hurt our reputation with others because of something we've done. Because nobody gets it right all the time. And we could have the greatest of intentions. And we could be good people. And we could want to do good. And we could still hurt someone else or make a mistake or be tempted, get addicted, whatever. All the different things that get in our way of experiencing the goodness of life that is available to all of us to the degree that we have the ability to receive it. And so, as the story goes, it gives us a map, really, for how to, when we're lost, how to find ourselves. So let's see what the story can teach us, because ultimately that's what it is. It's a teaching story. It's not, you don't have to believe it. I don't know if it happened. I don't think it happened. I think it's just a story. So after experiencing this love and acceptance despite his awful deeds, have you ever had that where somebody just loves you? You're like crying, like, I can't believe I've done this. I feel awful. And somebody in your life still loves you. And you realize, wow, thank you. I needed that. I needed to know because I feel like a worm on the ground. But you still can see something in me. And it feels so good. So Zacchaeus comes out of his house after this experience, and he addresses the crowd that had gathered probably to protest. And he says, I'm sorry. I've been cheating you for years. And you know it, and so do I. I feel awful, and I'm ashamed of myself. I've gotten rich at your expense, and I apologize. And to make it right, I'm going to repay each of you from what I've stolen. In fact, I'm going to repay you back 4 times the amount I cheated you out of, he says. And today I'm giving half of all my goods to the poor of this town. It's the original Hollywood ending. But the reason that it's been told over and over and over and over again for thousands of years to lots of different people, and it's been given lots of different meanings by different people, but the reason is because I think it has the recipe for a good apology. It starts with saying the simple but demanding words, I'm sorry. But that alone isn't enough. A good apology also expresses how you feel about what you've done. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm embarrassed about what I did. I'm disappointed in myself. However you feel. But the most important thing is it has to be sincere. It's really how you feel. Letting the person know. And then to complete the apology, to ask, what can I do to make it right? Is there anything I can do? And then do it. And that's the recipe. Many of us have never really been taught how to give a proper apology. But it's one of the things that helps us have a wonderful life. So there's 3 steps. Saying I'm sorry is the first. It's only the first. Some people stop there. They want the lemonade without the lemons. But expressing sincere remorse. I'm embarrassed about what I did. And then finally, to offer what can I do, and following through to try to make it right. But, every relationship can't get fixed. Every situation can't be repaired. But it begins with an appropriate apology. That's the only way it's going to start to be repaired, if it can be repaired. And many, many can. It's amazing. Relationships are like organisms that live and breathe and change in every moment. And when we come in and we bring some care and love and honesty and authenticity, sometimes it just changes the whole organism, You know when you don't see somebody for a year or years, and then you see them, and it's like, bam, it's right back there, and you can give and take, and all of a sudden there's just all these feelings that return. Relationships are like organisms, so when we apologize or do that, we can shift things and change things. But I think you can tell that this is a topic that I know something about. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've hurt people in my life, never intentionally, never like with my mean spirit, but because of my laziness or because of my short-sightedness or greediness or whatever it was that I did or didn't do that I shouldn't have done, and I hurt somebody. And so I've learned how to say I'm sorry because I have had to. And what I've learned is that there are two layers, if you will, to the process of redemption. One is the external. It involves, this apology to the other person or trying to repair the situation. And in that case, we don't have control over how that person is going to respond. So they may come toward us. We may be able to repair the relationship. We may be able to fix the situation somehow, but we may not. It's not in our control. What is in our control is to give an appropriate, authentic apology, and then we just have to wait and see. But that's not the end, because it's not just the external. Does the community see me as okay now? Maybe not. We hope so. But it doesn't always happen that way. So there's an internal part of redemption. Can I be okay with myself, even if they won't or don't, or people see me a certain way? And we have to separate the two, because a lot of times we get them mixed up, and we're always feeling terrible about ourselves because someone else feels terrible about us, but it's about getting in touch with that purity of spirit of who we are from the time we were born, that is lovable, that is okay, that makes mistakes. We're human beings. And so that internal piece is about the fact that we are imperfect. Nobody gets it right all the time. Our job is to try to fix what we can when we make the mistake. So what's the special sauce that I promised? The special sauce. So for that, I have to turn to the actions of the rock star, Jesus, who comes in and he loves and accepts Zacchaeus. And that's what transforms him. It's the love. And the crazy thing is that when we are in relationship with somebody and they do something that we don't like or that hurts us, what we tend to do is withhold our love. That's a natural thing to do for our children, especially when they're teenagers. They do something and they're being annoying, and we can, get mad at them and withhold our love and try to give them the cold shoulder or whatever. I mean, I'm speaking as a parent of a teenager right now. But also our spouses and our partners, when their actions start grating on us or they've done something that hurts us, we withhold our love. We pull away from the people at work who are annoying or unethical or inept, from our adult children who sometimes do things that break our hearts or that scare the heck out of us. And sometimes we even withhold love from ourselves. Sometimes we're the hardest person to love and to give love to. But when we can't forgive ourselves for doing something that we feel is inept or not up to our own expectations of ourselves, even then, think about it. Even Zacchaeus, who was at the height of his most corrupt, selfish, sinful worst, Jesus arrives and shows him love, that he's lovable. And that feeling of experiencing that will transform us. That's the special sauce, love. No matter what somebody has done. Now, it doesn't mean that we can all do that for others, but look for that for ourselves and find a way to love ourselves despite it all, to get in touch with that core part, that pure heart that's been with you from the beginning. Those pure intentions that really come from a good place, that you are a good person, that you do mean well, and that you've made a mistake like we all do sometimes. No matter what you've done in the past, as long as you have breath, you have the opportunity to move towards redemption, to turn things around. If not externally, internally. And you can even be the source of another person's redemption. And by not withholding your love from someone else, but using it to heal and inspire. And I know that like with a teenager, when it's like they're being the biggest brat, and it's like, but I'm going to lean in to tell them I love them and how much I love them despite what they're doing. It's powerful. When you feel at your lowest, when you feel like you are a real jerk, and somebody reminds you that you actually are lovable, and they know it, despite what you've done, it transforms you like nothing else. So let's practice saying some of the most powerful words anyone can say. Repeat after me, if you will. I'm sorry. It's good to practice that, because it's hard to get out when you really have to. It's easy in here. Let's try that one more time. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I love you. Thank you.
Come from
the fire, living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around.
We come from the fire,
Living in the fire, go back to the fire, turn the world around.
we come from the water, living in the water. Go back to
The water, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around.
we come from the mountain, living
On the mountain, go back to the mountain, turn the world around.
we come from the mountain,
Living on the mountain,
go back to the
mountain, turn the world around.
Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life.
Oh, so is life.
Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Do you know who I am?
Do you know who we are?
See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly.
Do we know who we are?
Oh, so is
You
life. You can join us.
Oh,
So is life. Oh, so is life. That's all you need.
oh, so is life.
Heart is of the river, bodies of the mountain, spirit in the sunlight, turn the world around. We are of the spirit, truly of the spirit. Only can the spirit turn the world around. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Help us. Oh, so is life. Oh,
So is life.
what we never living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the fire, living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. Mountain, we come from the mountain, living on the mountain. Go back to the mountain, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living in the mountain. Go back to one more time, turn the world around. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life.
Harry Belafonte.
Harry Belafonte, and I saw y'all turning yourselves around, and I figure we have to turn ourselves around so we can turn the world around. So thank you for playing along and turning yourselves around with us. If you haven't yet filled out one of these Connect cards, I hope you will. They're on the table in the back. They help us stay connected to you. And if you're visiting for the first time, I hope you'll pick up one of these bags in the foyer. You'll learn more about us and find out more ways to get involved in meaningful ways so you can redeem your own life. And use that coupon you've got. Remember about that coupon you've got. So speaking of redemption, I don't know if you know this sad fact that 1 in 4 children go to bed hungry in Tulsa every night. So one way that we redeem ourselves is by doing good works in the world. And please join us this Wednesday, May 3rd, for our annual Empty Bowls fundraiser, which supports I have a little graphic here, which supports our food ministry. We have a pretty powerful food ministry here at All Souls. It's existed about 11 years, and we raise funds. People can sponsor a family. We started with family dinners in the schools, and we started distributing groceries to families who needed support, and we've delivered food to all kinds of organizations across the city. We have this one fundraiser with beautiful bowls, empty bowls made by local artists. There'll be a live auction. That's this Wednesday at 5:30. Thank you all of you who participated in our visioning process. We got a lot of feedback from hundreds of people. We're collating all those results, and in the fall we'll be working on a new vision statement and a strategy to achieve our goals as we try to make the world the way we imagine it might one day be. And in all your feedback, we heard over and over again how important the music is to you. Sometimes I feel like music and the arts alone are enough to redeem us all. Probably not quite true, but it certainly helps. So next Sunday, May 7th, join us at 3 o'clock when all of the choirs, chamber choir, adult choir, cherub, children, youth choirs will all perform. Your souls will be stirred, your hearts will be lifted. That's next Sunday, a week from today at 3 o'clock. What day? Sunday. At? Okay, good enough.
See you there.
Good enough. See you there. There we go. You're also invited on Wednesday, May 10th. So we're going to see each other a lot. Wednesday, May 3rd, Sunday, May 7th, Wednesday, May 10th, when we want to show you how much we are grateful for all you do for this community and the city of Tulsa. So it's our chance to say thank you. And all we need from you is that you tell us if you're coming so that our super chefs, Jerry and John, can make enough food. So please come on Wednesday, May 10th to be recognized and thanked and pampered and have some performances, perhaps some serious, some silly. We're all going to have a lot of fun because really this is your church and you're making it happen, and we want you to know that we see that. And then there's a women's retreat, May 12th and 13th. You can sign up now. It's going to be a great time for the community of women and everybody who identifies as a woman to come together, talk about women's issues, take care of ourselves and each other. So sign up for that. And I'm going to talk for a minute about money, because we're about to take out this morning's offering. But before I tell you where the offering is going, because every week we give away our offering to an organization in the community that supports our values, But if you'd like to make a pledge to the church today, there are envelopes in the back, and you just put something in here and you say, "For all souls." And if you haven't made a pledge yet for 2023, we would really appreciate your pledge. That's how the church runs, on your pledges. So please support the church if you're able. And today, our offering goes to the Reed Community Foundation, changing lives and creating future leaders by showing love, the magic sauce, teaching life skills, and building healthy minds and bodies. We'll now gratefully receive this morning's offering.
Nice. Nice. So imagine what the world could look like. If you're here, I hope you'll stick around. We've got some refreshments and make some community. We've got a bookstore in there, and as Barbara said, there's. If you're here for the first time, I hope you pick up one of our gift bags for you. It's great to see some new faces and to be together this morning. Remember this idea. I want to mix my metaphors a little bit. There's the idea that, like a sailboat, that if you don't put up the sail, it can't catch the wind. And so that idea of the goodness of life is there for us, like the wind, but you need to be able to put up your sail so you can catch some of it, so you can enjoy a beautiful day, wonderful people, and just know that we can imagine a better world, but we can make it. It starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with, if you've got an apology to make, this would be a great day to do it. Now is always the best time. And so I encourage you to do that. And also, just if you're on the other side of an apology, I welcome you to consider whether you have the capacity to receive that apology with love and know how transforming that is when somebody receives you after they know they've done you wrong, and you know they've done you wrong, and yet you say, "I still love you. I still see you for who you are." Powerful stuff. And it is what changes the world. That's courageous love. So as you go forth into this day, I invite you to bring your courageous love, to open your sail and fly on the winds of the goodness of this life. Go. May your eyes see beauty, may your lips speak truth, may your heart know love, and may your hands do the good works of this world all the days of your life, and until we meet again. Thank you.